Right, how are we doing, guys? I hope we all had a good day, all had a good trading day. Today was actually a very, very nice, successful trading day. Just going to do a little bit of a post-trade analysis or post-trade breakdown on the gold sells, which I took just after NY Open. So we know that most of today has been very bearish. We've had quite a strong bearish trend on gold. So start of the week, I was very interested in taking some sells after I saw that during London we were bearish, and just after London we were bearish. I actually tried to take a sell just after London Open, or just before London Open actually, and unfortunately was stopped out. Managed risk alright, so that was fine. Didn't let that loss get to me, and decided, I'll revisit the charts later and see if there are any clean setups, and that's exactly what ended up happening. So you can see that what happened on gold was we came down and created a low. Now, normally when we create a low and we maintain that bearish structure or that bearish trend and get a strong pullback like this, there's a good chance that if we do form resistance at key levels and then form some minor support within that resistance, that we will come down and retest the low which we created. Now, that's the exact move that I was looking for, the exact move that I was visioning to happen, and you'll see exactly what ended up happening. So at this point, the zones that I had marked in was this 30-minute support, because I could see that we tapped into that support and rejected it. Now that's obviously an indication that we could start coming down if we start forming some resistance. So I had that that support marked out. I also obviously had this bottom support marked out to see if we could come back down and retest these sorts of lows. So if we drop down to the 15-minute time frame, you can also see we had a resistance level on the 15-minute time frame over here. Now what I was expecting on the 15-minute as well was to see a possible resistance form at that 15-minute, and that was going to be an added confluence that if we form some 30-minute resistance, some 15-minute resistance, and then broke minor support within the 30-minute resistance, that we could start coming down. You can see we had the clean candles to the left. So I'll play this on until we form that resistance. So you can see we formed the 15-minute resistance on the 30-minute, on the previous 15-minute resistance. So now that's a strong indication that, okay, we are rejecting a previous area of 30-minute support. You can see we tapped into that, rejected that area. Now we're not only rejecting that support level, we're also forming resistance on that support level and on a previous level of 15-minute resistance. So we're respecting that level, and this is a strong indication that in a bearish trend, we can now trade the trend and possibly retest these lows which we had created earlier on the day. Now let's go back up to the 30-minute time frame. You can see we also created 30-minute resistance. So this is exactly what I was looking for, the 30-minute resistance. And now what I needed to see was within this 30-minute resistance, can we find some minor support? So obviously I'm now going to mark out the low. This is exactly what I did, marked out the low of that 30-minute and needed to identify some lower time frame support. So we didn't have on the 15-minute, but we did have on the 5-minute. We had some lower time frame support. So now we had broken through that. Now what I needed to see was on the new 30-minute candle, a wick up to provide me with a stop loss level and a retest on the lower time frames, and then a push down. So it's going to look something like that, the wick up, and then the candle to push down and fill this clean range that we had to the left. And again, this is just simply trading with the trend. That's all we were doing, trading with the trend, understanding that we were rejecting levels of support, creating levels of resistance on previous levels of resistance. This essentially is our break and retest, guys. So you can see we broke this support level, then we came back up, formed resistance, and that is your break and retest. Now what we're expecting to do is retest the low. Once creating the low and then retesting the area which we broke, and now retesting the low. So you can see, I'll play this on exactly what happened. I had a sell stop set below this 30-minute candle, and the next 30-minute candle wicked up, providing us with our stop loss level, and my entry level was just at the break of the low of this 30-minute candle. Once again, I'll put up my trade on the screen for you guys so that you can see that. And I had a TP, my eventual TP was at the low here, which we had earlier on created. And I mean, this was 70 pips away. I secured positions much earlier on, but essentially got a lot out of the trade, got way more than 10 pips. I secured my first position, I think, at about 17 pips. I used a bigger lot size, the biggest lot size that I've actually used so far, 25 lot, and was more than happy with the outcome, and then moved my stop loss to break even once we had moved down about those 18 or so pips. I actually moved my stop loss to break even when we hit 10 pips, but didn't secure profits. and let my trade run, and then secured my first partials at about 18 pips. And then after that, let my position run, and you can see we ended up coming down. I've ended up securing my full position at about plus 60 pips, because I'll play this on. The next 30-minute candle came down a little bit, almost to the eventual TP where I ended up securing anyway, and then came back up. But once we are out of the trade, we don't care what price ends up doing or where price ends up going. All we care about is the trade that we took. Did it play out how we expected? And this was perfect. A perfect, what the members will know as a type C entry. Now, type C entry is looking for a low or a high to be created. In this instance, it was a low. Created this low, looking for a clean pullback, which is exactly what we got with this nice strong bullish candle. Some resistance to form. So that's exactly what happened in this case. Resistance at either previous support, and then for a type D, it's going to be resistance at previous resistance. So you can see we had this support level up here, very strong level. And then we formed resistance at that previous level of support. So that's your break and retest completed. And then all we needed to do was break this 30-minute candle low. And that's exactly what we got. And we had the clean candles to left. So that's another added confluence. And the most important confluence is we were trading with the trend. It's, you know, one of the most simple and basic rules of trading is try and trade with the trend as much as possible. Counter trend trading is obviously very low probability and very high risk, whereas trading with the trend is much safer, much less risky, and much higher probability. So this was just a little quick post-trade analysis of that gold trade. Again, guys, very, very simple once you see this over and over, and that's exactly what we saw here. Nice little added confirmation as well was this 30-minute candle high was respected by the resistance 30-minute candle, and again, the lows were not being respected either. So I talk about this a lot on the streams. Respecting highs and breaking lows is very good if you're looking for sells, and respecting lows and breaking highs is very good if you're looking for buys. So something just to keep an eye out for, especially on the higher time frames. So I hope that this video was beneficial for you guys and that you do enjoy it, and I'll see you guys all for the live stream tomorrow morning. Thanks very much.